I better check real quick. Well, that's, of course, where the comments are going to be. I better put this here. Okay. Yay! I think we're getting somewhere with this. Getting close. Hopefully, people who join me on Facebook can hear me. Tonight is September 27th of 2024. I am Reverend Briana Lee, and this is WitchCrafting Live. Tonight we are talking about the Cone of Power.
I'll put on the mic.
What? Oh, yeah. Right. Getting all the technology lined up. See if I can read the screen from here. Hello. Hello on TikTok. Thank you for joining. Just getting started here. Tonight we're going to be talking about witchcraft, specifically about how to craft rituals. And tonight's specific topic is how to raise energy when it comes to your spell work and your rituals. Tonight is the third in a series that I've been doing for the month of September, talking about magical theory. And hello to everyone who's joining on TikTok. Thank you for coming here tonight. We're setting up just a little bit on Facebook and on YouTube. And I was hoping I would have a guest with me tonight. Last week's show went really great. My student Jolene being on here was really, really great. I loved working with her energy. The guest I was going to have tonight with me, they actually ended up having to go out of town, so we pre-recorded our interview, and that interview is going to be going up on YouTube probably within the next couple of days. Now, what was interesting, important about the guest I was going to have is they're one of my members on Patreon, and one of the benefits of membership is fan requests. So my friend Nerese sends me this request and was asking about gender in Wicca, and how do people who are how can we talk about Wicca that's going to be inclusive to people who are non-gendered or non-binary or gender fluid. And we had this entire amazing conversation about gender in Wicca. And the reason it's coming up as far as like tonight's episode about the Cone of Power is because when they initially asked me what my thoughts were on gender in Wicca, I started thinking about how when it comes to Wiccan rituals specifically, generally speaking, the idea is that what we're doing in ritual is inviting all of the elements to the table. We've got the divine feminine, the divine masculine. We've got earth, water, fire, and air. We've got sacred space. So what's the last thing we got to bring? We got to bring that energy. We got to raise that cone of power. And my understanding of this cone of powers is that it's sort of working off this sort of sexual energy that we all contain in order to send our energy out into the universe to manifest our wants, goals, and desires. So we had an amazing conversation about gender, and my biggest concern was if people are queer and they're looking to get involved in Wicca, whether or not there's a concern about being represented, right? If you don't feel like you fit with the Lord or you don't fit with the lady, like where are you represented within the practice of Wicca itself? And what came to me was, in my particular tradition in Wicca, it's called Triskelion, and we have a trinity, and it's the Lord and the lady and the brotherhood. Now, in our day and age, a lot of women took exception to brotherhood, so a lot of people changed it to like the ancients or the ancestors. And so for me, in thinking about representation for people who are non-binary or gender fluid, that third part of the trinity, the ancestors, the ancients, the council, that's kind of where I would put them in for representation. And if anyone's tuning in, hearing me talk about this right now, if you want to weigh in or give me your 2 cents, please feel free. But again, that interview, we're going to post like a segment of it on YouTube within the next couple of days. And then the full interview will be available on my Patreon. And it's patreon.com/witchpriest. So with that being said, welcome to tonight's show. The Cone of Power. So, oh, and that reminds me too. So the theme for September is magical theory. And in the first 2 lives that I did, I was talking about how to build a framework. Like if you want to work, like understanding that because we're talking about bringing all of these elements to the table, you want at least to work with the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and the divine, or aether, or however you want to conceive of it. To view more comments. If people are commenting on TikTok, I apologize. Thank you everyone for joining. In any case, where was I? Oh yeah. So the first live was about the 5s. The second live was about the 7s. So expanding it to like the days of the week and working with the planets and ascribing them different keywords so that you can pick more specific times or days or gods or whatever to build your spells around. And tonight I want to talk about the Cone of Power because, you know, part of manifesting our desire, whatever our desire is, we have to put energy into it. And she's like still setting up back there. So part of the reason I'm doing these lives is because my student, if you missed her last week, she had kind of complained to me at one point that she really, you know, she was a part of several different chat boards and was trying to get answers about witchcraft and spell work. And it seemed like every time she asked a question, people would get mean. They would jump on her. They would jump to conclusions and make assumptions about what she was asking or talking about. And I really wanted to create a safe space. Are you just making noise on purpose? That'll be the new year. You're getting too long-winded on this one. Move along.
No reason.
Oh, no. Oh, just random. That's just random. So thank you. That is my production partner, Erin, keeping it real in the background there. She's been great helping me out with doing videos. I'm a little bit behind on posting videos on TikTok. I've got not only like skits and things that we've created together, but some various other material. I'll get it up on TikTok soon. But anyway, back to the Cone of Power, back to this being a safe space to ask questions about witchcraft, ask questions about spell work. My intention is to start creating a safe space for people to get their questions answered. If they have otherwise had difficulty finding community and safety and asking questions. So why do we need to raise energy for our spells, right? Why do we need to do that? And I kind of akin it to, you know, when we do spell work, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on just a second. I'm reading my notes. Hold on. And now she's doing the accordion or harmonica. What are you doing?
I'm just filling the dead air.
Well, I'm Jolene. So
you
my
find
student
something. I play the harmonica. I don't know
my
what
student
to
Jolene
understand.
last week. Her feedback for me was give a little bit more space for people to ask questions and make comments, so you don't have to be like the whole the whole time. So anyway, I guess she'll just be interrupting me periodically.
I won't.
The peanut gallery in the back there.
You can barely hear any of this on.
Are you sure?
Camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's only bothering me.
Yeah,
So
it's
purely for
I'm only pestering you.
oh, these people on TikTok here. Oh my gosh. So, okay, in Wiccan circles, when we're talking about Wiccan ritual in general, the cone of power is something that is created in the middle of the ceremony. And one of the things that I've experienced throughout my life as I've explored different Wiccan circles, different public things that people are doing, it seems like people get really good at the circle casting and the quarter calling and the deity calling, and then it all kind of falls apart in the middle. And I can't tell you how many rituals I've been to where it's like 20 minutes of calling and invoking, and then it's like 5 minutes of some activity, and then we're just done. And I'm like, well, where's the magic? Like what did we go through all that for? And is any of these invocations necessary? Like, if anybody's watching that has thoughts on that, like when you should or shouldn't cast a circle, Wait.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Don't be intimidated by my presence, darling. I'm just checking the
she
numbers.
just keeps moving around, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Go take your Adderall.
So one of the things that people get, like, and it seems like this is like I've seen this everywhere. Like, I have a group, a prison group that I work with, that when I've attended their rituals, I've seen them struggle with this very same thing. And it's like, you get all these invocations done, and then what happens? And part of the problem here is that it is because it's an abstracted sex cult, right? Like, we've taken the actual physical act of intercourse out of these rituals and abstracted them. Now it's like the chalice and the cup, and now it's the Lord and the Lady. They're like, people aren't physically enacting that act of conception anymore, which is also why, if you were here right at the beginning when I was talking about my conversation with Nerisse and gender and Wicca, where it's like, if we've come to the point where nobody really knows or understands that part of the ritual here is basically enacting an abstracted conception event, right? Then where does sex and gender really fit into all of that? And so in thinking about this and thinking about the cone of power, like in the middle, you're supposed to have an intention. You're supposed to have a reason that you're there. And sometimes if it's the Sabbath, like just praising the Lord and the Lady or the gods that you worship, breaking bread with them, having a social event, that's all right. But other times there really should be a purpose to your ritual. And generally speaking, raising that cone of power, the intention is to raise the energy of the room, to send it to some kind of intention. And there's any number of ways you can do that, such as singing and dancing. Like, if you want to really feel and get into a tasmic state where it's like your brain opens up and you're in communion with the divine, breath work and singing and dancing are like those are the top three. And I got to thinking about that, and thinking about, like, from like the macrocosm of like a big group ritual down to like spell work. Like, how does that translate? Like, and you guys are, if you tell me how you feel. Do you like big public rituals, or do you prefer small private spells, or do you practice something somewhere in between? I personally love big transformative healing rituals where we do some kind of activity in the middle where we're really transmuting and transforming our energies. Like, I just did a ritual back in August for the 8/8 Lionsgate. And we were kind of going around looking at, like, what are we burdened by? And we all started sort of screaming into the fire pit. And, people really letting go of any kind of performance anxiety, letting go of any kind of expectation of, like, how they're supposed to perform or whether or not people are judging them, and just like emoting. That's where the transformation is. That's where, like, the magic happens, when you dig into yourself and you really have some kind of emotional release. Like, that's what ceremony and ritual is supposed to be about. And so I personally have a hard time with just doing spell work, because I kind of feel like, as someone who does Reiki, as someone who's been healing for a long time, as someone that has a lot of psychic gifts, like, I'm like, I have a hard time being like, well, why do I need to do a spell? Like, when I can just meditate on it and vibrate in that frequency. And So you guys tell me, are you into spell work? Are you into big ritual? Are you into both? Let me know what you like to do. But where I want to come back to is in anything, whether you're doing a spell or a big ritual, there's something that has to be consumed, right? It's either you have something physical, like you're burning a candle, and the flame is then consuming that wax to send that energy out into the cosmos, or you're doing something like burning a charcoal and burning incense, and it's that combustion of that incense, that transmutation that represents that act of sending your intention or your desire from, you know, that physical space into that cosmic space. And I got a couple of things of show and tell for you guys. I'm going really fast. I wish I had a guest tonight. Oh my God. I can't wait for this video to come out. Like it was so great. And Nerys, wherever you are tonight, I hope you're safe. I hope you got home safe. I love you. So physical consumption of some form has to happen, right? So we're going to start with spell work going up to ritual work. So let me start with my show and tell. So first of all, for me, when I'm doing something and I want to raise energy with some kind of object, right? I'm about to show you guys what some of my favorite objects are that I use in my work. Okay, so let's see if I can get this going here.
Let me know if you need a hand.
Oh, thank you. I need to just make sure my drink doesn't get spilled this time.
Well, I think you can handle that.
the cats
drink it.
Well, I can't drink it all at once. I got a whole hour to get through. Oh my God. The cat spilled my drink last week. It was sticky. It was not good.
It all came out in the wash.
So, I got into Wicca when I was 15, or 14. My father introduced me to it, and then it kind of spread through my whole family with my mom and my siblings. And I got into my first like teaching coven around 15. And I've been through many teaching covens and experiences since then. The last coven that I was a part of, so we're talking 30 years. 30 years of Wicca over here. And where was I going with that? I don't know why I brought that up. Anyway, I think my point is that I'm not new to this stuff. Like I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And I was the high priestess of a coven, like probably back in like 2017. And I ended up leaving there for much of the reasons why anybody leaves any group. And if you've been a part of any kind of local community, you know that things tend to blow up on the regs, on the regular. And I think that's part of it too, where it's like people come together, they make things happen, and then they go apart and they go their separate ways. And it's just the natural course of things. Anyway, so I'm going to show you guys something. This is one of my objects of power. Okay. This is a scepter that I made. All right. So this end represents casting. So if I want an extra boost for calling in energy or casting circles or drawing in energy for building that cone of power, I use this end. When I want to do like banishing or taking the circle down or repelling energy, I use this end. And how this particular stick came into my world is it was a sapling that was in somebody's yard. I was helping my friend clean out their house, and they had pulled it out and somebody had pulled it out of the ground and was leaving it to die. So I took it home and I scraped it and sanded it and painted it, put the crystals on there. And this has been with me for 15 years, at least at this point. So sometimes if anybody's into like baton work, does anybody here ever do baton or flag in high school? Remember this? Remember this move? You can't hear it, but she's playing clapping in the background. Woo! I am the champion. So yeah, so it just depends on which way. If I want to invoke or revoke, I might depend on like twist it this way. And part of it isn't just like the object itself or the time that I put into it or the crystals that are on it, but as I'm moving it, I'm also tapping into that energy and feeling that vortex as I'm twirling it around. And in fact, if anybody is at home and wants to try this, like if you are somebody that doesn't feel energy or has never really felt it before, I encourage you to try this little exercise right now. So you start out by rubbing your hands together, okay? And then you pull them slightly apart, right? Till you feel that energy. You should feel, to me, it feels warm, and it feels almost like when two magnets like repel each other, there's a little bit of resistance. And if you can't feel it, try it again. Try it again, right? See if you can feel it, right? And once you can feel it, imagine expanding it, right? And this becomes like your bubble, right? This is your energy bubble. And as you feel it and as you work with it, you can start to move it around, roll it around. And I like to get my whole body into this, right? And if I could do this by myself or with a group as we roll our energy balls and we think about our intention. So let's see, tonight is September 27th. What should our intention for this energy ball be tonight? Should it be healing? Should it be transformation? Anybody want to leave me a comment? Tell me what. You guys probably can't hear the sound effect.
They can.
You think they can?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and intend that this particular energy ball is about old structures finally letting go and letting the new arise. New, healthier ways of being, and into suffering. All right. There's certain, I wanted to say the G word because I care about Palestine and Sudan and the Congo, right? But this could just be for yourself too. Like, you know, if you want to start out just feeling it and moving your body. And as you get into it, and I think a lot of times people give up too soon. They stop too soon and they don't let it continue, right? And so, okay, wait, let me go ahead and finish this, and I'm going to send it out. Somebody leave me a comment about where we should send this energy ball to. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to imagine world peace. Simple enough. The ending and crumbling of old structures and support and love for humanity, right? Transformation and equity for all, okay? Shazam!
Shazam! Let's go with the world peace.
World peace!
It's a nice start.
So then once you like send it out, you send it out into the cosmos, right? Or in this case, sending it out all over the world. Like I like to meditate quite a bit on praying for the world and praying for humanity. And once you've sent that out to, like I like even taking just a moment to imagine that collectively we send this love all around the earth, right? And then you can clap your hands to release that energy. Now that being said, so this could just be a personal ritual, right? It could be something like if you wanted a new job, you know, if you wanted a new car, if you want a new relationship, if you want to make repairs on something, or even if you want something in your life to completely crumble so that you can let go and move forward. I mean, this could be anything. You know, I don't like to talk about hexing and cursing because that's not something that I like to do. I'm very much the sort of person where I'm like, it's a very rare occasion that I would want to do baneful magic. That's not my style. That's not something that I engage in. I generally pray for everyone's healing, understanding, and evolution. That doesn't mean I don't have a bite. And that doesn't mean I don't work with all kinds of entities like demons. Okay. But in general, I'm not the sort of person where even if I get angry and I'm imagining all the lickbacks in my mind that I'm going to get on you, I'm not actually going to send it to you, you know? So to me, if there's like a conflict happening and I'm trying to shift my energy from anger into understanding and acceptance, right? And maybe pray for that other person, even if I just want that person to go in a different direction, trying to transmute that energy so that it's a positive outcome for all. And sometimes just walking away is the best positive outcome, right? And I'm thinking about that right now because I got a situation where I'm like, there's somebody in my life. I want to just walk away. Yeah. And so, but you could, if you wanted to instead. So since we're talking about, oh, hey, Erin.
Yes.
In my backpack, could you grab, there's, I'll just grab it here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So one of my other objects, this is one of my travel boxes that I decorated because I'm like that, because most witches are. If you're not crafty as a witch, what kind of witch are you? Anyway, and actually somebody said to me one time that witches are generally crafty or make some kind of craft or art because it's engaging in that creation energy. And for myself, as I'm an artist, I've done art my whole life. I always kind of imagine that my art is alive because I'm putting that energy and intention into it, that it is a third dimensional representation to some sort of alternate dimensional energy that wants to come through and interact with us. So that being said, do be careful with your art if you think that way. If you think that way. So let's pull some stuff out. So let's see here. Does anybody have any questions? I'm just basically like riffing here on this topic. So if anybody wants to ask me something, please feel free. I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know if I've seen any comments. But if I've missed your comment, I do apologize. So let's say we wanted to do something.
That was a fun one. I like that one, huh?
Oh my God, comedy hour. So what I love about Erin, okay, and this is like, okay, I do have a sense of humor, but the last couple of years I've been under really, really heavy psychic attack. Like it's just been one conflict after another, one person after another, one tower moment after another. And I've basically been at this point in my life where I'm like, constant defense. Okay? Everybody's blocked. And so that puts you in a place where you feel very serious, right? Like, who has fun anymore? Who's got time for fun? We just fight demons around here. So me and Erin joined forces in the most epic divine comedy kind of way. And now she's like here to bring the sauce so that I can remember what it's like to smile again, because
break things up.
I'm gonna break it up.
Annoy you.
Right, because when I think, yeah, right, exactly. like the sister I never had.
There you go.
So let me just check in for a second. See if anybody's left me any comments that I can see. Let's see. Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? If there are people who are new on TikTok that are just joining, I'm Reverend Briana Lee. I'm an interfaith minister, I'm a Wiccan priest, and I'm a Reiki master. And tonight is a third of a series about talking about raising energy, specifically the cone of power. And what that basically means is that you're building this energy to put towards putting in your spells. And the reason we're talking about it is because September is all about magical theory. Magic is a formula, okay? Now, it's different from psychic abilities where you have these sort of natural gifts that you can utilize to perceive and affect and manipulate reality. And that is different from magic, which is using a certain kind of formula to produce an effect in your reality. At least I think so. If you don't agree, you're welcome to tell me in the comments. Okay, wait. Hold on. So, in any case, where was I? This is a safe space to explore witchcraft. You're welcome to ask me anything. I was initially raised in a sort of New Age household that had a lot of tarot and spirits and past lives and things. And then we got into Wicca as a family when I was in my teens. And I've been through several teaching covens. I've been the high priestess of my own coven. And now I'm at the teaching phase of my spiritual development where I'm bringing forward some of the things that I've learned to help mentor people through their journey into magic, witchcraft, the paranormal, psychic abilities, etc., and so on. So I brought out a candle here because I might not even use all these things. Because talking about spell work, so a lot of times I'll see spells that are like, it's a recipe for whatever it is that you want. And generally it's like, it might take 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what you're doing. Usually it either involves a candle or some kind of like, herbal blend of some kind for your purpose. And what I'm talking about is taking just like whatever the actions of the recipe are and putting extra energy into it. Because what I've seen in a lot of recipe books for spell work is you get the recipe, maybe you'll get a chant, but nobody really talks about how to really get into it. Like, yes, you can light your candle and say your prayer and let it burn. For a lot of spells, that might be enough. She's just experimenting with sound effects back there. But for me, like, I want to know, like, I want to know that I put this energy into it and it's going to work. There's no not working because I made sure I did all the steps. So if you have a candle, if you're doing some kind of candle magic, you can inscribe something in here. Just the physical act of inscribing something, whether it's in English or some other language or some coded sigil or something, just that act of carving it into your candle takes your intent and implants it in the physical object. So that helps to bring extra additional power and oomph to your spell. Additionally, having a color that is appropriate for your spell work, such as like, this is my candle that I burn when I want to talk to spirits. So I don't let, hey, Alicia, nice to see you. I don't generally, I don't allow spirits to just talk to me. I find that intrusive. I don't like it when anybody is like intrusive on me psychically. I'm not a fan. So I have this thing where I'm like, you don't get to talk to me unless this candle is lit. When this candle is lit, you know that I'm opening the channel and I'm available for information. And I am not going to just take your call anytime unless it's something super serious. So I try to make it a habit when I want to talk to the spirits, so this is my spirit candle until it's gone, and then I'll start a new one. So your invocation here, so even saying an invocation or a prayer also imprints your energy onto the candle and helps to imbue it with your intention and your energy. Now, let's say that this was a spell candle and we were lighting the candle as a part of a candle spell ritual. Doing what I showed you before, where you're just rubbing your hands together, building up your energy, right? And then you start to get into that movement where you're stirring that energy and you're raising it up. Once you start to feel it, and this is where I feel like too many times I've seen this where people give up too soon and then wonder why their spell work is weak, right? Like if you really want oomph and power in your spells, you got to take the time to actually put energy into it. Otherwise, in my opinion, and this is solely my opinion, if you don't do something like that, your spell work is about as effective as just speaking it out loud in the first place. Like, and what I mean by that is that, let's say you're in a conflict with somebody and you're like, you want to do some kind of spell work around the conflict. Whatever you do is like about the equivalent of you just approaching that person and being like, hey, let's work it out. Or, hey, here's a punch in the face. And sometimes the physical world is better. Like sometimes you just want to take that physical action.
Faster lesson.
Right? Faster trip to jail if you get violent. Instant results. And I was actually just, on the topic of magical theory, just telling my prison group that, for me, the general formula for magic is right thought, right action, right timing. And a lot of times when we get into the occult and we start doing spell work, we rely a little too heavily on our spirit guides. We rely a little too heavily on the candle magic. We rely a little too heavily on the moon water, when really just actually doing something like calling somebody or mailing in that thing or applying for that job would just be really more effective. Okay, sometimes you just got to take real world actions. But in this case, we're building an imaginary spell. And if I were at home doing this, I would not only be doing something where I'm like raising my energy to imbue into this candle towards my intent, right? I'd probably do that for a minute, right? And then I would probably sing or say some kind of prayer over it to help, again, put my breath, my thought, my intention into that, so that when I light that candle, that energy can combust and go out into the cosmos to return as my manifestation. Now, you guys don't know this, but I'm like, because I do Reiki, like I can really feel it. Like I don't think you can feel it through the camera. You'll have to tell me when you edit this later. Can you feel my aura through the camera? Probably not.
Was weak.
Did you guys hear that? She's like, your aura is weak. And that's a joke from one of our skits that we posted on YouTube. We have this kind of smarmy guy that's like our imaginary, his name is Rick. And Rick hits on me at some point and he's just totally slimy about it. And that's something he says, your aura is weak. And I'm sure if you've been involved in any kind of occult community, you know somebody who's like that wants to be like, I'm in charge. Like I'm the one with the big balls on the site, and we all give them white birth, I hope. I hope we've learned enough.
Here's his book. His favorite
This
book.
is the book that we put in the skit. Because he's all about
Women's.
He's all about the women's, right? Right.
He knows
right.
what women like.
Yeah. So now we've imbibed this candle, and since this is my candle for invoking spirits, or at least opening the channel for spirits, I want to be intentional when I light this now. To decide who I'm calling to. And if there's anybody that has questions about that, if they have... Oh, thank you, Alicia. I'm trying to make it fun. I was telling them earlier before you joined that I'm just like, I've been in serious McSerious land. Like, so freaking uptight. And my friend Erin has really been helping me to unwind and remember that life can be fun and magic can be fun and demon hunting can be fun. That's part of why I don't demon hunt for fun. I don't mean to say that. That's not what I need to imply. But so who am I calling upon? So let's see. I'll see. So if I were going to do an actual spell right now, I'd be like, well, let me call upon whoever I'm calling upon. So I have all different deities that I work with, energies and entities that I work with. I have different demons that I work with. And basically, like, for me, I'm sort of like, these spirits come to me usually. Like, spirits will make themselves known to me and will develop some kind of relationship. So there's a few that I've reached out to that I've developed because I've started like an ancestral altar or working with the planets. And then there's a few that have like come to me where they're like, no, you need to work with me now. Like, there's a couple of goetic spirits that were like, hey, it's time for us to work together. So if you're watching this, just take a moment to breathe. We're going to light this candle. If there's anyone in particular that comes to mind that you would like to get a message from, right? Just maybe take a step back. If you can, breathe about it. Be like, okay, if I wanted to talk to somebody right now, who would I want to talk to? And intend that only they come through. Because one of the things that can be a danger with this work is you just open it up to whoever's there. And my general feeling about that is that it's sort of like waving a dollar on the corner and wondering why the homeless guy keeps approaching you. Like, be intentful when you call the spirits, right? Like, when I do it, I'm like, I'm calling my spirit team, and we have a secret place in my mind that we meet when I want to ask them things. And this is, to me, is like the beacon for them to come and find me and communicate. And I'm super tempted to pull tarot cards, except I didn't bring any with me tonight. So, what?
They're right there.
Oh, they're right there. Okay, maybe I'll pull those out. So we've imbibed this candle. We've set our intention. If you have a prayer set up, you can use a prayer. Prayers can be super simple. They can be something as easy as I call upon so-and-so to join me or participate in this session. Please and thank you. I acknowledge you. Or you can have something in specific, like one of the other things. So I was talking about like my objects of power, like things that, oh, you do? Okay, good. Good. All right. Okay, so my friend Alicia here has someone in mind. All right. Let me see. Give me a second. Now for me, because I am a visionary, like I get stuff in my mind's eye, I don't always use tarot cards. Alicia, would you like me to see if I get a message for you from the cards? See if we can get a message for you from the person on your mind. Let's see. I don't always use cards when I communicate. I often get a lot of like downloads straight into, okay, all right, let me see. Alicia, are you still out east or did you come back to Minnesota? Are you somewhere that's like, maybe it's just because I'm surrounded by green. I'm seeing green. Oh, the light keeps changing. Angels, archangels, ancestors, and spirit guides, call upon you to join me in this little demonstration. Calling out to Alicia's team, and who she has on her mind right now. Do you have any messages for her? Okay, so you're still in New York. Are you thinking of like a female figure? Like a grandmother or something? Older woman? Okay. Okay. Alicia says yes for those that can't see her comment. All right. Ooh. Sorry, I just got chills tapping into that. Okay. I feel like she loved you very much. There's definitely an emotional connection. I feel a little bit of regret. Maybe something went unsaid. Is this person that you felt was like judgmental towards you? Like you weren't sure if she ever really like, ooh. Or maybe, okay. She did love you very much. I feel that very strongly. So what fell out was the Ace of Pentacles, and I'm getting like there was something she held back about. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so this Pentacles being held back, it's like there was something she held back about, or something that never got fully communicated or passed on to you. Okay, it was your perception of her. So your perception was like you thought she didn't approve of you? Is that how you felt? Is that what you mean? Where are we at? Okay, I'm just gonna get one more thing and then I'm gonna move on. Because I'm like, this is mostly for demonstration purposes. Let me see if I get any other messages for Alicia. Yeah, she definitely, Alicia, she loved you. Like, I got that really, really right away, that it was like, there's something about not being able to fully express herself to you. Like, maybe she didn't fully understand you. But she also wants you, like, I'm getting not just that there was stuff that she held back because it's like she didn't quite understand or wasn't sure how to give to you or wasn't sure how to provide for you. Is that if you want to communicate with her, try asking to speak with her in your dreams. Okay. I'm getting with the cloud on that Ace of Pentacles that she's like, you can meet me in the dream time. Yeah, I just got the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So that's sort of like, maybe there's something that like you've been holding on to, some sense of hurt, something that like you've been holding on to for a while, and it's okay to let that go. And you guys can talk about it in the dream time. Like, she'll be there for you. She wants to make any amends that she can in the afterlife. That's totally what I'm feeling right now. Blessed be Alicia, and blessed be grandmother. Thank you for joining us in this session. So, as you guys can see, like the spirit's really coming through, and this is something you can do on your own, where it's like if there's someone you specifically want to talk to, you can raise that energy, especially if you're not used to it. Like for me, at this point, all I have to do is light the candle, go into a meditative state, open up the theater of my mind, and this stuff comes through to me visually. But if you are trying to reach out to a spirit that you haven't connected with before, or particularly if you're new, you might want to just take a minute to like get that energy in alignment, build it up a little bit, imbibe it into your candle. I want to talk to this person. And then you can use tarot cards. You can do automatic writing. You can just meditate and breathe and see what comes to you. And then when you're ready to end the session, you say, thank you. Thank you for your message. Thank you for coming to me. Until we meet again. When I light this candle, that will be your clue that I'm open to communication. Thank you and blessed be. And at this point, you'll put the candle out, okay? And then I also like to ring a bell. I hope that's not too much for people who might be sensitive to sound. I'm sorry. Thank you. Archangels, ancestors, and spirit guides, thank you for attending. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell. So, right? So if you've never contacted them, spirits before, or if you're new to it, or if you're not sure if you're feeling something, really taking that moment where you can feel even just your own energy and you can feel yourself putting it into that candle can help you be more sensitive to those spirits when they do arrive. And it also creates that beacon for them to come and find you. Where are we at? We're at 9:52. So what do you think, you guys? Like, so does anybody have any questions about ritual, about raising energy that you'd like me to talk about before I start to wrap up tonight's experience? Like I said, September is all about magical theory. Coming up in October, it's going to be all about the business of witchcraft. So we're going to get into unpacking some spiritual mindsets. We're going to talk about like the true cost of spiritual services. I've got some fun guests coming on, some interviews. The first Friday of the month is going to be a members only chat over on Patreon, and it's patreon.com/witchpriest. So any members that join me there get a free private chat where you can ask me literally anything. So if you're going through any kind of spiritual issue, you have questions, you want some counsel, it's a safe space to get some feedback and support for that. I also do take spiritual counsel calls and do remote Reiki sessions, remote mediumship sessions, which you can find at animapraxis.com. And one last thing I want to talk about as far as like raising energy. You know, we've got movement and dance. So this is an easy one, right? But I'm like, if you just wanted to play some music you love to jam and rock out to and dance around your living room, that is a way to raise your energy. And that is totally valid. And I totally recommend it. Like I love jamming out to music and getting that energy flowing. It helps me to transmute my energy. It helps me to go from I'm having a negative day to a fantastic day. I'm in a bad mood. Now I'm in a great mood because I feel like I've done something productive with that energy. But another thing you can do, and this is the last thing I'm going to speak on for tonight, has to do with prayers. And this book here I wanted to show you, since I'm kind of sharing with you guys what some of my tools of power are in ritual. This was originally full of white pages. And it was like a blank book that I bought at my very first PSG back in 1994, back when it was held at Eagle Cave, Wisconsin. And if you're not on my YouTube channel, it's at Rev Briana Lee, RevBrianaLee. Over on YouTube. I do have a story time where I'm telling just a tiny little bit of my experience of driving into PSG for the first time. And it's told through puppets. Like if you love puppets and you love magic and you want to hear a silly story about a clothing optional situation, you should go check it out. So I originally bought this book there. And because I was like 15 at the time, it's like it was just full of like terrible 15-year-old poetry. Okay. Like it was just bad. And, but however, the thing about this, and this is something that I'm going to get into more and more as we go deeper, and people who are members on Patreon will get to know more about this as well. I went through a very significant experience that later that year, and in going into my 16th year, this is very traumatic. And this is an item that went with me through a period of time when I was actually abducted, and I managed to save this one artifact from where I was held captive. And now I've kept it, and I did, as you can see, I tore out all the terrible 15-year-old poetry and burned it, and I have repurposed it. So now it is full of blank pages that I'm filling with all of my exorcism prayers. But I also have like my invocation to the gods in here. I've got my invocations to the planets, to the stars that I work with. And this is like one of those objects where I'm like, this went into the underworld with me, and now it contains all of my exorcism underworld. I am the master, you are the slave type prayers. Okay. And so if I was going to go on a paranormal experience, if I was going to go to somebody's house to do a massive banishing, this is the book that I would bring with me, because it's full of the most potent prayers that I've collected from around the internet, from other cultures, and from within my own experience. So the reason I brought it up is because talking about raising that energy, that speaking, you get into that, like you want to sing something, like even if it's just a simple chant that you know, like prayers in here, you don't just do it once, you don't just do it twice or 3 times, you do it, and you do it over and over again, and you do it with conviction until you feel that the energy has shifted. And I think a lot of times when we do this stuff, whether they're doing spell work or ritual, we give up too soon, and we prevent ourselves from truly experiencing and feeling those energy shifts, right? So with the example that I gave of like lighting the candle to call upon some ancestors or have a spirit session, I might pick a prayer to do an additional invocation to invite the spirits that I want to come. And then if you're doing it for a specific spell, like, you know, you're manifesting something in your life, you're going to want to repeat that spell, and you do it until you repeat it over and over, almost until the words start to lose meaning, right? Because that's when you start to get in this space that's not up here, it's back here. And this is where the magic happens. And this is where the magic happens. And this is where the magic happens. You know, it's not just your thoughts. It's not just your words. It's like everything. And that's the right thought. You know, like when I'm talking about the right thought, where your emotions, your mind, everything is in alignment, and getting into those tasmic states where you can work with your breath and work with that sound and get into a meditative space where you can open up your mind to higher dimensions. That's what you're going for. And if you're not experiencing it in the spell work and rituals that you're doing, you might want to just do a little bit more. Allow yourself to get into it for real and see what happens and how your spells take off. And with that, it is 10 o'clock, and I want to thank everyone for joining me on this live tonight. If you're interested in having a private counsel session, like I said, Patreon members, you get the first Friday of the month for any paranormal, ritual, ceremonial questions that they might have. So that'll be whatever the first Friday of October is. The second Friday of October, I'm having my friend who is actually a Lutheran minister to come on here to talk about
Patrick.
Oh my God, he's so great. I'm like, I have a Lutheran priest friend. It's amazing. And we're going to talk about spiritual services from a Christian perspective and a Wiccan perspective, and realizing that it's kind of the same. There's some same attitudes, there's some same realities, and there's some same mentalities to push through. So that's gonna be a really great conversation. And then again, if you're looking for some spiritual counsel, if you're looking for support, and you want a one-on-one session, you can visit animalpraxis.com, which you can find in my bio to book a session there. So thank you everyone for joining. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, what you want to see, and I'll see you next time. Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. Sorry, she just played a video. I'm like, we got merch. Good night, everybody.
Remember what happened last time? You don't understand. Make me nice. I miss them so much. All of them kill me then. All of them kill me then. You don't understand. Make me nice. I miss them so much. All of them kill me.